Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talk. My dad, my partner, my co-host, Cowboy Joe 64.
I am your father.
Just to get the Cowboys 2 good games to hopefully understand that they need to go receiver and go high with this next pick.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what this is gonna be about.
All right, you're looking live at Generation to Generation Cowboys and Sports Talks. I'm the host, DJ Itelluwhat, and we are back with another one. Just gonna chop it up about some cowboy news, rumors, anything, nothing in particular. We just gonna chop it up about some cowboy things in this dead time. I'm trying to figure out how to get us live on YouTube. I don't think we're on there. You want to say what's up to the people, and then I'll figure that out while you're doing that.
Hey, what's up to the people? So we're not live on YouTube.
Oh yeah, we are. So we're live on YouTube and Facebook. So we are live on YouTube.
I don't see the link, but
here, I'll send it to you. Trying to figure out how to get. What did you want to talk about today? You have anything in mind that you want to talk about?
some wanted to do a kind of an update on where we see the position battles, just kind of based on from few tidbits I got from listening to different people. Hold on one second.
Nah, the thumbnail is not accurate, but
I still don't see it.
I just sent it to you.
I know, I clicked on it.
All right. Okay. So what tidbits did you hear about that you want to talk about?
So we're so I was listening to the content creators last night. It was Aisha Morrison, shout out to her, and J Tug, DMV, CFT on their show. They got a really good show. People should definitely check it out. So Aisha, she was talking about. Wait a minute, I think it just popped up. Hold on one second. I think. But she was just talking about some of the position battles, just giving some inside tips on what she was noticing when she was at the OTAs and minicamp. And she, mentioned that the linebackers, when they, with the first team, it was Sanborn and Murray. And she talked about Izzy a lot. We've been talking about Izzy all off season, and it looks like he's really getting some attention by the coaches, and he's playing kind of a rover position, which is really cool. I think that's kind of what he needs to play. I don't think that I don't really think you want him playing corner or just playing safety. You really want him kind of moving around like he did on that Tampa game a few years back when that was really his come out game, and they didn't really give him any looks after that, which was really odd. So I think him, being, and then she said when they went to first team, of course, Donovan Wilson was rehabbing, but Wanye was the other starting free safety. So, we're just looking for Wanye and Izzy to get more involved. It doesn't really matter if they start or not; they just need to play, and hopefully they're gonna get a shot to play. I think it's gonna make a difference because that Jordan Lewis role, somebody has to take that over, and until Diggs and Ravel get ready, because I'm thinking Bland is gonna have to play on the outside the first few games. So I think Izzy and Wanye, you like Izzy, you like Wanye playing corner too. So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I like Wanye playing corner. I just feel like Wanye is just the type of player that he can play anything he can play any position on the field, so to speak. Because he's athletic enough. He plays good at safety. He plays good at corner. Because he gives it 100% effort. He's one of those players that he plays on special teams and he just gives 100% effort, and that's why he's good. At any position. I think that he's not gonna fail. His brother is a corner. He was a corner in high school and at college too. So I think it's one of those positions to where he has the athleticism to do both. and so he can fill in the gap when the time is needed. But you want someone, I think it's best if you have these players play one position. So Wanye, him playing safety is probably where he gonna end up taking over and starting when Hooker and when Hooker leaves and when Donovan Wilson when his time expires, it's gonna be Wanye to fill in that role. I haven't heard much about Bell though. That's what I'm looking to hear. I've been hearing more about this undrafted free agent or this late draft pick safety than I've heard about Bell. So what's going on with Bell? Why haven't we heard about him making any noise in camp? Because we always hear about him making noise in camp, and we always hear about, we see him shining and flashing in the preseason. I haven't heard anything about him.
So the safety, that's the one from Syracuse. What is his name?
Yeah. Let me look it up. Elijah Clark.
Elijah Clark. Been hearing a lot about him. But what she said about Bell, her observation was when she watched the minicamp, he wasn't real active with the first team. Believe it or not, she was talking about him just being a standout special teams player this year. So again, I just think it's going to be a deal where, what would Jimmy do? Jimmy would figure out a way to get these guys involved. That's what they're going to have to do. But Elijah Clark is a name you definitely gotta be aware of.
Yeah.
I got the link to work.
Yeah. So you just send it to whoever. I mean, the link is working. We live. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I'm sending it out. But yeah, it's safety. It's gonna be competitive, and so now we just gotta wait and see. Kind of how it all shakes out. But I think the safety thing, man, is one that I think we can do. We just need more playmakers. We need people more active, and that room needs to be shaken up because it's just not a from a Malik Hooker standpoint, not a whole lot happening. Donovan Wilson, he got up to a slow start, but the second half of the season, Donovan Wilson was good. So
yeah, he was hurt. I mean,
yeah, he was hurt.
No, another thing, I don't really, I be listening to a lot of the people talk about the Cowboys. I be listening to, I'm a G Bag Nation fan. I listen to them every day. I don't miss. So I listen to everybody talk about them, and I'm trying to figure out how come when it comes to the Cowboys injuries. Now I don't know if it's because these people that are watching the Cowboys or talking about them are not tuned in and zoned in like we are or like I am. But how come is when they're talking about Cowboy players and when they're doing Cowboy stats and Cowboy rankings and all that, they don't never put injury in its right perspective. They never talk about injuries. This is like, for instance, like I keep saying, if you ask anybody what was the 49ers problem last year, they're gonna say, oh, they was injured. But then you ask them what was the Cowboys problem last year, they're gonna say it was Dak, or they're gonna say it was coaching, and they don't, but our whole team was injured. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying this to Jake Ferguson and Donovan Wilson. When they did the top 10 tight ends, they had Jake Ferguson at like 16. And it's just like, well, they say, well, he had a down year last year.
Right, he was at 16.
He had a down. Did he have a down year last year, or was he hurt half the year? And then also, did he have a down year last year, or was he hurt? And then the person he has the most chemistry with hurt for half the season. So I mean, you got the first part of the season, he was hurt. Dak was healthy. Then the second part of the season, he was 50% healthy, and Dak wasn't even playing. And then they look back and say, well, he had a down year. He did not have a down year. He just was hurt. And his quarterback was hurt. Just like Donovan Wilson. Donovan Wilson, he had a rough year last year. He didn't play good until the end of the season. Well, he was hurt at the beginning of the season. I mean, he was playing when he shouldn't have been. That was clear. We were saying that he doesn't even need to be playing. He had like twisted his ankle or something like that in practice at at the beginning of the season in training camp, we were just like, they do not need to rush him out there. He was out there game one, and it looked like he was hurt. So all of these players, we can do this. You can go down the line. They can say, "Oh, well, Zach Martin, Zach Martin, he faded toward the end of his career." No, he didn't fade toward the end of his career. What happened was he twisted both of his ankles. He almost broke one. He's playing on two messed up ankles at the same time. He didn't fade at the end of his career. It's just like, yeah, Terrence Steele, same thing. Terrence Steele, he really didn't start playing good to the end of the year. Well, he was coming off of ACL surgery. So I mean, what you expect him to do? You expect him to play 100%? I mean, no, they do this with Cowboys players only. To me, it seems like, the Cowboys players, they get a bad rep. Tony Pollard used to get a bad rep. He's not a every down back. He didn't start playing good until he got into a rhythm. Well, he had plantar fasciitis, and he also broke his leg in half. You know what I'm saying, in the playoffs. So each year when he comes back, it's just like they ignore that. With Dak, same thing with Dak. They say Dak throwing crazy interceptions this year. Well, he did break his hand. So I mean, he does. This is just throwing hand we're talking about here. So it's just like, it's just, to me, I don't understand that. It's just like, Donovan Wilson, when these players, that's my main thing with the Cowboys. It's my only red flag. And it's just like, this is the NFL, so you got to expect this. But what terrifies me is a few things. One thing is health. I would build my team to where, what's the worst thing that can happen? We were watching that documentary about them going to get Osama bin Laden. What did the Navy in the Marine Corps, what they say? They said, what's the worst thing that can happen? Right? What's the worst thing that can happen? And one of the SEAL Team 6 guys, one of the young guys, he said, well, one of the helicopters could crash before we even get there. And everybody looking at him like he was crazy. But what they do, they put together a plan for what happened if that happened. And then that just happened to happen. But they had a plan for it. So for me, I would build my team like I would have drafted a quarterback that without a doubt, no questions, like Shador, without a doubt. If that go down, we know Shador can take us to the Super Bowl, no doubt. If Jalen Milroe, if that go down, no doubt in my mind that Jalen Milroe can get us from that can go down game one and be done for the rest of the season. Our season is still alive and well, like it never stopped.
Yeah.
We don't have
You was really big on Jalen Milroe and Shador. Now, me myself, I don't think that they are.
Hoodie.
Hey, Hoodie, appreciate you joining the show, man. Jalen Milroe and Shador, I just think you gonna line up and play, of course, but I don't know
anybody besides. Like for
you
instance,
don't like Joe Milton.
He's not. He's not the type of quarterback. He's not the type of quarterback. I do like Joe Milton, but he's not the type of quarterback that fits the mold of what I'm talking about.
Where I would change what you're saying is the way I would build my team is I would just do what they did in the 90s. In the 90s, they had Rodney Peete, they had Steve Berline, they had Bernie Kosar. That's what I would do. I would have a veteran, somebody that is a surefire starter that's won games in the league, that anybody else would
I'll give
want.
you a better example. Tony Romo got hurt his last year. They had Dak. Okay.
Yeah.
So
I would say
what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, and I would say Dak is kind of the exception to the rule. I don't know myself if Shador, definitely not Jalen Milroe, can do what Dak did. I mean, we'll never know. But I would
they have a better chance of doing it besides Joe Milton.
Man, I think we just gonna disagree on that. I just don't think,
because I forgot who I was talking about. I was talking to
I really like Shador. They should have drafted Shador.
They should have, and so had the rest of the league. Now, Uncle Daryl said they want to see Joe Milton play. They don't understand that when you watching highlights, those are highlights. You see, like,
you want to see Joe Milton play.
A lot of people keep saying that Joe Milton is good and his highlights and he looks great and all this.
So let's talk about that. So here's the thing about Cowboy fans.
Exactly.
We
and
don't
they
want to. What I don't want to do
points.
is I don't want to paint all the fans with the same brush. I don't think all the Cowboy fans want to see Joe Milton. I just don't think that. I think that what Cowboy fans want, they just want somebody that when if Dak gets misses 3 or 4 games, we're not gonna go 0-4. So
Yeah, but
understand that now could Shadur go 3-1 or 2-2? Sure he could.
now,
Jalen
I'll do you
Milrow
one
could
better.
too.
I think that if that go down for 3 or 4 games, that Joe Milton can win all 4 of them games.
Well, yeah, that's what to me, that's what we're talking about. So we're not talking about a season ending thing. And I just think me, myself, yeah, a perfect example, Hoodie, is Foles.
Yeah,
They
I said,
when
but the thing about it
that's
is we've seen that in the past. Dak
yeah,
just missed the whole season last year. The moment that he
yeah.
went down, our season was over. The year a couple of years before that, when he broke his leg, as soon as he went down, our season was over. So
I
it's
do
just like,
I do think if Dak had a season ending injury, I think Shadur could have got us to the playoffs. I don't know. I'm not gonna say that about Milrow. You like him a whole lot better than I do.
well,
I
he's
would
just an
absolutely
athlete that the sky's the limit. We don't know what he
yeah.
could do.
And
We don't know what his ceiling is. We don't know what Shador's ceiling is. We know what Joe Milton's ceiling is. We know that. We've seen it. We've seen him play.
I don't I mean I'm again, I think the jury is out on Joe Milton. I just don't
Like I
think
said,
he
if everybody that says that, I just tell them, and I'm not gonna disagree because I want Joe Milton to be good. I want him to be great. But I'm just gonna say, let's see what
and
Hoodie
Cooper
said.
Rush, well, he's a terrific backup.
He was terrific. You know what I'm saying? He was terrific. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was terrific. I mean,
I
I
think
don't know.
was his record like was he like 8-2? Like
Yeah, he's
he had a great
yeah.
he had a great record.
But see, the thing about it is, and we can
But he
go into
had his limitations too.
he did. He had his limitations. The only reason why is because when he was playing, it was a team effort to win. It wasn't
Mhm.
all on Dak's shoulders. When he was, you got to remember when Cooper Rush had his run and went and won all them games, the defense was keeping teams scoring less than 21 points.
And with the team
So
we have now, Cooper Rush will be fine.
he would be. I agree. You know what I'm saying? And he played himself right on out of here, though. He should have. You know what I'm saying? Because he was doing good. But my thing is, when you go back and watch Joe Milton, go back and
He
watch
was
Joe
9-3.
Milton.
Thanks,
That's
Hoodie.
right. That's right. He was 9-3, but that was team effort. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't throwing the ball 30 times a game, and they was keeping offenses off the field by the defenses. Defenses, they was keeping, they was doing what they had to do to win the game. But my thing is
Yeah.
like this: go back and watch Joe Milton's all of his game and watch every single play. So when you do that, what you'll see is out of 50 plays, he'll have 10 great wild plays, but the other 40, you just be like, bro, what was that? I mean, you just threw him the ball. You just threw an interception. And this is
Yeah.
the same thing in college. This is the same thing in the pros. You just go look at Joe Milton. That's the reason why he is not a starting quarterback, and it's a reason why they were just giving him away because he is just his ceiling is he gonna win you a couple games, but
Well, hopefully you might be right, but hopefully our scenarios he don't play at all, and then secondly, if he got to go out and win 2 out of 3 games or 2 out of 2, with this team, that's kind of what we're looking for. It's still a lot of talk about Dak and Dak being, a great player, Dak not being up for the job and whatever. That kind of whole thing right there kind of gets tiresome. We
yeah,
talk
you know
about
what? Like I said, I can talk about that all day because my thing is like I keep saying, as soon as somebody says something about Dak, I just tell them to look at the bigger picture. Like I told y'all the other day, just like Dak ain't the reason why the Cowboys haven't won a second playoff game in 30 years. And that ain't Romo's fault neither. And that ain't any other quarterback fault. It's not the quarterback fault that we haven't won a second playoff game in 30 years. That's not their fault. You can
yeah.
grade them and say if they had a good game or not, but that doesn't mean anything because it doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean? It's when like I keep saying this. When you win, to me, this is my opinion. When you win in the playoffs, when it counts, first game, the second game, NFC Championship, Super Bowl. When you win those games, how you win those games is to have a complete team effort. Your coaching has to be the best. All your players have to be the best. Your GM has to be the best. See, Philadelphia, when they got to the playoffs the year before last and they lost during the first game, they lost in the first game to Tampa Bay. The next year, their GM said, you know what? We need a running back. You know what we need? We need a running back. You know what we need? We need a good corner. We need a good safety. So let's go sign Saquon. Let's draft these young corners, these young safeties. Let's do it.
Linebacker Zach Bond.
Let's draft Zach Bond. Let's do
No,
that.
they signed him. I think he was a free agent.
See, the GM did that. He also said, let's figure out the cap to where we can get superstars, and let's figure out the cap to where we can get all these superstars under this cap and on this roster, and then that's what did it. You see what I'm saying? It's not just Jalen Hurts had a great year. Nah, Saquon had a great year. Their defense had a great year. Their offensive line was supposed to be the best offensive line and defensive line in the NFL. Everybody had a good year. So what the Cowboys do is, they had a good year when we played in Green Bay, but Dan Quinn and the defense just left the offense out to dry. You can't win when you do that. Now we played against 49ers. The defense played good, but Dak didn't really have a good game, and then Tony Pollard got hurt. So you can't win like that. It's like, all those things, the ball has to bounce your way. All those things have to go in sync, and for you to win and for you to beat the other teams that have everything else in sync. Like, when you playing, when Baltimore was playing whoever they played and they lost, something was off. Something didn't work. They could have won, but they tied in Zach Ertz or whoever that was.
Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews dropped the touchdown. Lamar Jackson didn't have no bad game. So your tight end got to make a catch if you're gonna win the Super Bowl.
Baltimore playing that game on the road had an impact on them. I think if they played at home, they probably win. And we was talking about this the other night, me, you, and your uncle. The Cowboys, the last 3 NFC Championship game they had, and they had the NFC Championship game 80, 81, and 82. All 3 was on the road. If they had played any one of them games at home, especially the first one, they probably win. And the same thing with, and what I was gonna go with that, and the reason I brought it up is, to me, I'm just trying to bring a even keel perspective to this whole Dak thing. And a lot of people try to put the race part in there too, which that's kind of part of it. But here's the thing: the Cowboys, Danny White, he went through the same situation as a Cowboy quarterback. He replaced Roger Staubach. The first year he replaced Roger Staubach, the legendary quarterback, they went to the NFC Championship game. They played at Philadelphia. It was a close game. They lost. Then he went the second year. So he replaced Roger Staubach and went 3 years in a row. But the fans still were not happy with Danny White. All these quarterbacks go through this. This is not just Dak. They were saying the same thing about Matthew Stafford. They were saying the same thing about, like I've mentioned before, Elway. So all of these quarterbacks, that's just part of the deal. So Dak, unfortunately, that's what you kind of have to deal with, and until you win it. But in each case that I mentioned, the person that got over the hump, they did exactly what you did. They just built a better team around them. So that's kind of what's going to have to happen with Dak. I think we on our way. I think we had a good draft. I think we still got a couple of moves that we need to make. They were talking about on one of the shows that, I think it was Jay Tuck, shout out to him. We still hoping that they done told Stephon Gilmore to just kind of chill. We're going to call you at the right time. So if they do that,
couple players they're supposed to be getting released this week, and like it's like two corners on that list that's better than him already.
So who you got?
I'll get him again. I'll go through it and get him. I want to respond to Shady McCoy because I don't like him. And Hoodie, so I'm trying to find this list of 9 All Pros and him saying that they didn't show up. See, people like him, they say statements like that, but then if you just pause them and make them just sit right there and be like, now let's go through this 9 All Pro list you talking about they didn't show up, because I can tell you right now, I know 4 of them are special team players. Brian Anger.
We haven't had 9 All Pros, so I don't know
Yeah,
what he's
so what
talking
is he
about.
talking about? But even if we did, we were talking about Zach Martin. He showed up like he was supposed to. CD show up like he's supposed to. Dak, Dak show up like he's supposed to, unless he having a bad game, which is possible. I mean Tyron Smith, he gonna show up like he's supposed to. Micah, so like I said, you can have 9 All Pros, like I just said about Baltimore. You can have 10 All Pros, and all your 10 All Pros can be playing great. But if Mark Andrews drop the ball, the team loses. Simple as that.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago, they were playing. I think they were playing Kansas City, and they battled back. Their defense was like terrific. Zay Flowers played a horrible game. It was somebody else that had an impact on the game. They lost to Kansas City. The defense was stout, but yeah. So
led the league in takeaways at 23 and no takeaways in the playoffs. Led the league in sacks in 23, no sacks in the playoffs. Well, here's the thing about that: no sacks in the playoffs in 23. Well, it's hard to pin your. The reason why they had a lot of sacks in 23 is because we would get up on teams.
He said takeaways.
Yeah. Takeaways in 22. We led the league in takeaways. But the reason why we led the league in takeaways is because when we would get up on teams, they would have to throw the ball in order to, if we up 23-0, they got to air it out. And so that leads to takeaways for us because we know they finna pass it and we ain't got to stop the run. But in the playoffs, the exact opposite happened. The other team, the Green Bay, they went up on us. And so when they go up on us, what does that mean? That means that now they finna start running the ball to run the clock out, which we cannot stop the run, number one. And so there you go. No sacks, no takeaways, because once they went up, they're running the ball. And that's ball game. So but yeah, Dak is not the issue, but the part of the issue, and I don't want to say the issue because that can't be the issue, because the issue, in my opinion, goes back 30 years. So we did the same issue we're talking about now was the same issue we were talking about in 2008. I mean, the same thing happened when Tony Romo in Seattle. So I mean,
each one of these years that we kind of had a good team, the last several years, whether it's 07, 2014, 2016, which I think is still our best team.
Yeah,
each year has always had this kind of its own unique kind of different things that have happened. So that's kind of what we got to hope for this year, that sometimes it just comes together for you at the right, at the right time. Everything does come together.
Indeed.
But yeah, we didn't have other players step up in those games. I think Michael Gallup was terrible in one of them San Francisco games. And then one of the games, let's see, Pollard, he wasn't used at all. He was healthy. That was the first one, the Boombox 49er game.
Yeah, the Boombox 49er game. They said
he wasn't even used.
They say Pollard is sitting on the sideline because they was punishing him for missing practice earlier that week.
Yeah, so those kind of things right there. So it's been different things that have come up. What's up, Blewett? What's up, Noop? So appreciate you joining. So yeah, it's been different things. So hopefully what they're doing right now, they're just putting a team together. Also, you got to look at the head coach. And in all of these years we talking about that we didn't really do anything. Man, the head coach, Jason Garrett, McCarthy had to deal with Kellen Moore. So hopefully Shotty will have some of these answers. What I do think about Shotty, he gonna have a team ready to play. They're gonna be fired up. They're gonna play with enthusiasm. So I think that can make a difference. Yeah, that second 49er game, the one that Hoodie's talking about, that's the out that Gallup was running. Terrible route, one of the worst routes I've ever seen. He did that a lot. That wasn't like the first time he's done it. And then he had some in that game, I think Gallup had about 6 or 7 catches, but they was all like, when the game was basically kind of out of reach, he started putting up stats, but when the game was on the line, he wasn't really doing anything. So that's kind of thing that has happened with the Cowboys the last few years.
Mike McCarthy used to say complimentary football a lot. He used to nail that to the ground. Complimentary football. That's a really big thing. You know what I'm saying? You really do have to play complementary football in order to win. If your defense is not playing good, your offense has to play good. If your offense is not playing good, your defense has to step up. So this is, and if they both not playing good, special teams has to steal the momentum. So it's just like, when those things happen, you win. That's why, like last year or the year before last, we would always get out on teams, the sorry teams or whatever. We would get out on them. And then Dak had this all pro year because that's complementary football to the way we was playing it. We was playing it to where, we get out on teams, real quick in the first half. Now these other teams is throwing the ball straight to our defense hands, and that makes our defense lead the league in takeaways because it just we're putting them in position. But when somebody hits you in the mouth, like Mike Tyson said, the plan goes out the window. When Green Bay comes in and they go up on you, now that all that you have to play complementary football. If they go, your defense has to step up if your offense is not. Your offense has to step up in your defense. You really want everybody to be on the same team. So on the same accord. So what we seeing with Shoddy is that for the first time, in my opinion, in a long time, the Cowboys look like a team. They all got the same mentality. They all got the same answers to the questions. It's like last year and the year before last, all that you could tell the defense from the offense. They just look like they just look separate. You can tell the
Different
defense.
team. But you had two head coaches. You had Quinn, you had McCarthy.
Right, and,
You could
and also
tell.
they had different attitudes, and then you had people like DeMarcus Lawrence that would just be like standing around eating Skittles
Mhm.
while everybody else is in the meeting room, and it's just like it didn't
Yeah.
look like they were like a team like that. But now you look at it and it's like Michael Parsons just holding out, but he's still practicing. It's just like they on the same page, and
They
so
got a
hopefully,
they got a different mindset, and I think so. Just reflecting on what Hoodie said, he's talking about Clayton Adams. I think Clayton Adams is going to be the first coach that we're going to lose if we start winning. So they're gonna come. They're gonna try to come and get Clayton Adams. So this is Clayton Adams. Also, he understands that he wants to be a head coach. This is his best shot right here. So one thing I want to switch on, talk about the tight ends a little bit. Okay,
yeah.
so you're convinced that Schoon is gonna get the first shot at the number two. So there was some discussion about the other tight ends, Brevin Spann Ford. Brian Schottenheimer was saying he still kind of looks unnatural as far as catching the ball. He said the same thing about Schoon, by the way. But there's some talk about Fairweather. I heard it for the first time, and Preston Fant. So apparently Fant has improved. Aisha, she was talking about your guy Hunter Lupke getting looks at tight end. So where I'm going with all of this, if Hunter Lupke is getting some looks at tight end, if Preston Fant is playing some tight end, Fairweather, John Stevens, I think the person that's going to probably be in trouble is Schoon.
Okay.
So what are you thinking?
Okay. Say that again. I'm gonna respond to Blue it real quick.
No, I
Yes,
was.
I think Dak does that. I do. I think so. I think Dak is definitely be on the sideline going off, and not only him, but it's other players that be on the sideline going off on the offense too, like CD. CD be going off. It's been a couple times that they didn't caught CD going off on Dak, and trying to read what he's saying, and Dak is trying to ignore CD because CD is on the sideline cussing Dak out, and we've seen
So
that. What was your
so
question about? Your question was about tight ends and about Noah Fant and all them. I
yeah.
think
So I think the competition is heating up at tight end for that number two spot. I don't think it's the number one spot.
no,
And
no one's
and Aisha, what I was going to tell you that she did confirm that in the mini camp they were not giving Brevin Spann Ford the number one snaps. They just had him playing so he could just get a look while Ferg was just kind of sitting out, just letting him go. And then when they really went with the ones, it was Ferg. But
yeah, of course. I mean, that's not even that's not going to even be an
yeah.
issue.
So I'm
Just
talking about the number two. Do you think that Fant, Fairweather, John Stevens, or Brevin Spann could knock Schoon out of the number two slot?
I don't think so. If anybody, it's going to be probably Fairweather, but Um, Fairweather, he gonna be a rookie, and so he's like, he gonna be making those mistakes that rookies make. I mean, it's gonna be a couple of plays where he whiffs on the block, or it's gonna be a couple of plays where he just straight up run the wrong route. And one thing we don't know about Shoddy yet is how Shoddy is gonna react to those type of blunders and mistake, because we knew, like with McCarthy, Luke, fumbled that ball against Miami. We ain't see him no more the rest of the season. So it's just like we knew how McCarthy react with stuff like that. You run the wrong route in the game, that was it, brother. That was your shot. Schoonmaker, his first year, he was dropping balls. Dak was not throwing it to him no more. It was just that simple. He was not throwing it to him again. The rest of the game, it wasn't happening. So we know how they act, but we don't know how Shoddy acts. So we don't know how Shoddy is going to react to these players that kind of mess up here and there. Now, as far as pure talent, it's obvious that it's John Stevens. It's obvious that it's Fairweather. It's obviously that it's them. I think they better than Prince Font, and I think that they better than what's my other guy name? Brevin Spanford.
Your guy
Now,
Hunter Lukey is getting some looks, so you ought to be excited about that.
if Hunter Lukey is in the conversation for tight end, he's going to win number 2. That's a question. That's not a question.
Well, what they were saying is he's not specifically playing tight end. He's just doing some of the tight end type things because he's just, which makes sense.
Ball out the backfield and running them routes and doing stuff like that. But
so, yeah,
Hunter Lukey, he's a weapon. He can catch better than he's an athlete, and he can catch and he can move and he can groove and he can block. So he's not as tall as a tight end would be. But if he was tall like Ferguson or as big as Ferguson, he would be 1A, 1B to the tight end if that was the truth. But I think the number 2 spot is Scoons to lose. They're gonna give Scoon all of the tries in the world. Plus, Scoon is not athletic like that, but Scoon ain't gonna make no mistakes. He ain't gonna run the wrong route. He not gonna whiff on no block. He not gonna do none of that. He gonna have a perfect when it comes to that part of it, the mental and the IQ of the game, he gonna be perfect on that. What School problem is just run after catching the ball. He doesn't catch the ball natural. It be looking like he be having to catch the ball. He be having to use every muscle in his body to catch the ball. And then after the catch, he's just not a dynamic speedster. He nothing like that. But as far as like blocking, running the right routes, running the right plays, all of that, he gonna be perfect in that. So
yeah.
whoever beats him out, they're gonna have to be perfect in that, and they're gonna have to be better than him athletically, which is not hard to do.
I'm looking forward to seeing Fairweather and see what he's going to look like in some of these preseason games, and hopefully, John Stevens has made a rebound. So let's move over to offensive line. So, we got some guys, your guy Booker, he's out doing some things on some videos. He's real active. I kind of like his whole little persona. He just seems like he's really excited about the game. I think he's going to be, it wouldn't surprise me if he comes in like Zach Martin. Zach Martin came in that first year. He was an all-pro. Wouldn't shock me if that happens with Booker.
No. And that's what you're looking for. Similar to tight end, sometimes you have these players, right, that they go undrafted or they get, whatever. They might get drafted in the first round, but you have these players that in general, they just come out of nowhere and they do better than you expected them to do. Like John Stevens, right? Or like other players like Terrence Steele. Terrence Steele wasn't highly sought after. He just came in the league and he just started playing good. And next thing you know, he's a starting right tackle, right? So you're just looking for a tight end like Fairweather to come in and be like that. Like, oh my God, how did everybody miss this guy? And the same thing now with Booker. Booker is expected to come in and be a dog. He's expected to come in and be good. And I think he will. I haven't seen anything that shows me that he's not gonna be good. Hey, what's up, Monica? Shout out to
Monica. Hey, what's up, fam? She joined the show.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Look at my note. So that I sent you. So but yeah, I think I really like the way he looks, the enthusiasm. there was a video of him with him at a camp, and he was competing against a young man, and at the end, he kind of that was pretty neat the way he handled that. So yeah, I'm really liking what he's bringing to the table. So a lot of these guys, I'm really liking what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm my only my only question is uh my only question is really is about Tyler Guyton. And I don't know why, man. It's just like every time I see Tyler Guyton, like at camp or wherever on Instagram or on Twitter or wherever I see him, it just to me he's just oozing confidence. He just oozing personality. He just oozing like he just glowing like that. He just glowing like he got it all figured out. He just look
Yeah,
like that.
we finna see.
You know what I mean? Like he don't it don't look like when people talk about the Cowboys, it's a couple of things that they talk about. There's a couple players specifically that they talk about. He is number one. Everybody always say, "Oh, we don't know what Tyler Guyton gonna be," but he don't look like that he's hearing that like that it's affected him at all. Like Mozzie is the second player. Now Mozzie, it looked like they be talking about him. When you see Mozzie, it looked like it look like he be trying hard as he can because he know that everybody on his neck. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, that drill they showed with Mozzie, I was
oh
kind of
man,
like, I don't know. So let's see, Country Boy, is that WV Country Boy? He's
mhm.
asking about right tackle. I think Steele is gonna bounce back. He came and he played better toward the end of the season last year. So I'm looking for a better year from Steele. I'm not that
Yeah, man.
concerned about him. I mean, I think he gonna bounce back.
I tell you what, country boy, still finna make $15 million this year.
Is that WV? I want is that West Virginia?
No, it's WV. What does WV stand for, country boy? But let me tell you something like this. Still making a lot of money this year, and we could have cut him and saved about 13 million. So, and also, still, he always does the same thing. He always has a rocky beginning of the year, but after about game 4 or 5, you don't hear about Terrence Steele anymore because he be handling business. He does what
Yeah,
he's
he
supposed to do
he coming off the injury, so we have to set. I think.
for sure.
Yeah, I think it is West Virginia. That's what I thought. Um, which is where our quarterback is from. Um,
Yeah, exactly. He said, "Oh, he's from West Virginia." Yeah, you said Dak is from West Virginia.
no, the third string quarterback.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Terrence Steele
Uh,
is being talked down on. He has been the only lineman in the past 2 years to start every game. Ain't no Terrence Steele. No, they be grasping for straws when they talk about Terrence Steele. He is not a problem. And he ain't,
yeah,
you know,
the injury was a big deal for him, and
yeah.
Cowboys
He's a
rushed him
lineman.
back. Yeah,
He's
they
a
rushed him
right
back.
tackle that tore his ACL. Okay. So
What's
that's
on
like a
Reddit?
corner. I'm gonna look it up. That's like a cornerback breaking their ankle. It's like you need that at that position.
So the corners, it was been some discussion about that. We still, like I said, hopefully that Gilly can sneak in here, but I really like the way Elam is looking. I went back and we talked about his dad being a former Cowboy. I think if you have to go into that Philadelphia game with Bland, Elam, and if it is Gilmore, I think you'll be okay. My concern is that you just got Bland and Elam. Diggs is on pup. Ravel is on pup. You're asking for trouble. So I think we need and some of these guys that you were talking about is going to be cut. Maybe you can look at them.
I'm finna pull them up right now. So the first thing on Reddit, and we do this Reddit, we start incorporating this into our channel. So we got a Reddit. So the first thing that I see is, are the Giants closing the gap on the Cowboys? I'm gonna let you talk about that.
I think they are. They don't have a quarterback, and I don't know who their running back is. Well, they got Scatterboo, but I'm not that big on him as a lot of people are. But yeah, he's gonna be competitive. But yeah, they are closing the gap um, with the new additions from the draft. You like the receiver Malik Neighbors. So I mean they look the NFC East. I'm an old school NFC East guy, so the NFC East is coming back. They just, they just are. You just gotta, and that's what I like about this upcoming season. The Cowboys, the NFC East games, they're gonna be a battle. There ain't gonna be no easy games.
No, I mean, I think that the Giants are always going to be our little brothers. They ain't about that life. They got some good players for sure.
Mhm.
Malik Neighbors, you know, he gonna be a top. I'm gonna say top 10. I'm gonna say top 10. Maybe top 5 receiver this year. That's what I think. When I was watching Malik Neighbors play last year on fantasy, and when I was watching him play, us, when we was playing him, we playing them. He down there caught every pass that was thrown his way. It was like we could not stop him because he about that life like that. He good like that. So let's see. Do you see? Move your camera up.
Yeah, I must have hit it.
Yeah, you can just point up in the air, it'll do it. But
Okay.
but yeah,
So yeah, Diggs did a really good job on Malik Neighbors in that first game,
mhm.
and I can't remember what happened in the second game. I don't remember the second game. But
Man, he
let's
did a
see.
good job on him, but it's just like, yeah. Monica said
So
she liked Malik. I like Malik too. I be telling my dad that Monica said she liked Malik. Malik Neighbors, he became one of my favorite players. I'm really high on him.
LSU guy.
Yeah, for
Uh,
sure.
but so Uncle Eric really liked Scatterboo. Uncle Eric wanted us to take Scatterboo in the first round. But he's
What's
not
up?
looking
What's
forward to
up?
seeing Scatterboo. And
What is it that you like about Snap?
so what's Hoodie saying? Top 5 of what?
I can't do top 5. I'll give him top 10, top 15. He said Malik. I said Malik Neighbors probably can probably be top 5. And if it's for
Mm.
receivers this year, I'll give him top 10, top 15, and that's because we were injured and had Andrew Booth on him. Well, let me see.
I watched
CD.
I watched a video the other night. They were showing Booth covering Malik Neighbors in that first game. Man, that was funny.
All right.
That was
Okay, so I'm
bad.
talking about CD. I'm not going in no particular order. CD, Jefferson, Chase. I'm not putting Tyreek Hill in there. CD, Jefferson, Chase, Amon Ra, Malik. I don't know who else
Yeah,
would you put in.
I have to look at the list. At a list.
Yeah, because I'm not putting like Devontae Adams and all that in there. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's somebody that we forgetting. So Chase is my number 1, and then I actually like CD over Jefferson. I do. You have Jefferson as your 1, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then but like I said, CD, Chase, and
Oh,
Jefferson, they can just
and if Blewett is still watching, so what I've been doing the last couple of weeks, because it's really just kind of a dead period. I've been watching a lot of the old Cowboy 90s playoff games. I watched the Emmett game where he hurt his shoulder. I watched that game at Kevin Blewett's house. He probably doesn't remember that. So me, your Uncle Daryl, and Chuck were at Blewett's. The Emmett game when they beat the Giants, we were at Blewett's house watching that. That was an intense game. That was a year that the Cowboys, they started out 0-2 because of that contract holdout with Emmett.
Mm-hmm.
And they were behind the Giants the whole season. They couldn't catch them. So they didn't actually catch them until they won that playoff game. So they were behind the Giants the whole year.
Tell Blewett, I got a picture of you that I'm using for blackmail. I got a picture of you, Uncle Scott, and Uncle Daryl. Y'all was probably like 18 years old on this picture. So I got this picture where y'all was like 18 years old. Y'all was at somebody's house and you was bent down on the phone on the picture. But anyways, and you had like
I'm sure he'd be interested in saying that.
He had a box. But anyways, let me see. But the Giants, they don't scare me. I'm really not concerned about the Giants. But hey, they not as bad as they normally are. But they messed us up when they traded Saquon to the Eagles. That was just like
Oh, and the other thing I was going to mention about that game, I didn't remember that game being an overtime. I thought the Cowboys won the game like in regulation. It was an overtime game. I was like, I don't remember that game going to overtime, but they won the game in overtime. So I forgot about that. That was crazy.
yeah. Let's see. Let's see. What is the? It says this one right here says Cowboys offense, new receivers, strong live, and improved QB. I would agree with all of that. So I mean, where are we at running back? Where do you feel like bottom line? What are we gonna be good at running back, or you feel like we just not?
Man, I don't think we have a number one back. I think we just got a running back by committee. It's just going to come down to the offensive line. If Clayton Adams and the new offensive line coach Riley can just pull some miracles off, just creating running lanes, I don't know. It's gonna be kind of touchy, but you like Javonte Williams. We just got to see what he's gonna look like. We got a lot of guys coming off knee injuries, and anybody that's had knee surgery like I have, man, it's tough. That first year, you just kind of feeling things out. So this will be his second year. We got people out there, content creators. They really like Miles Sanders. Everybody's down on Blue. Nobody thinks that Blue is gonna have an impact, and I don't agree with that. I think he's gonna be able to do some things. He's not an every down back, but I think he's gonna make an impact. So, to answer the question, I don't think we're gonna know until we know. We got to just wait and see how the line looks and
So let me ask
how
you
they're
a
gonna
question.
play.
What makes Blue not an every down back?
Well, the criticism with Blue is that he wasn't a starter at Texas, which he wasn't. He didn't really start playing kind of toward the end of the year. Some other guys got hurt, and then he fumbled, and then he didn't really run tough inside. He was really good out of the backfield. He's got talent, but I think it's a stretch. I agree to say that he's going to come in. I don't think he's a starter. I wouldn't say that at all. I think he's the kind of player. I think Blue is going to be good at the second half of the season, and I think he's gonna be probably a lot like Tony Pollard. When Tony Pollard first came into the league, Tony Pollard was not a every down back. He wasn't that kind of back. He just built up to that. So I think Blue, the same way. If we're gonna look at Blue 3 years from now, he's gonna be a different player. But I absolutely think he can.
This too. I also want to say this too about the running back position and how people always says this. And let me see what Monica says. Scatterboo, he's talented, but I'm trying to figure out why they.
I'm not a Scatterboo fan, Monica. Uncle Eric is.
I don't know why they be doing this with Scatterboo. Like Scatterboo is
Eric
not.
likes him a lot. I'm
you know
not.
What Scatterboo is known for? He's known for his antics and saying that they was gonna beat this. They gonna beat. Wasn't he talking noise about Texas too? Before they played. When he doing
I
that?
don't remember him talking noise about Texas, but
that's what he's known for. That's what he's known for. It's not his play. We wouldn't have, and it was a lot of running backs in the draft that was better than Scatterboo. Scatterboo should have been drafted as high as he was. But
a lot of people like him.
Yeah, a lot of people like him because of his personality, which is fine. But as far as talent goes, he's not. I don't know. It says Jaden Blue is an all-purpose back. My thing is, like I was gonna say this about the running backs. When was the last time that a team just had every down back? The teams that really be successful in the run game, they be having a 1-2 punch combo. So
Monica says he did talk trash in the game. So Blue can appreciate this. So let's go old school. Okay, so here's the thing: the Cowboys, they've always just had a star running back. That's just kind of their, a lot of these franchises or colleges, whatever the case may be. You talk about USC, Penn State being known for linebackers with Dallas. They've always had a star running back. They've never just had like an okay guy or just a bunch of guys. So that's kind of, we have a lot of history with that. So, Cowboy fans, we're not used to seeing just average guys at running back. So that's your answer. And typically when you see championship teams that's winning the Super Bowl, they don't just have an average back. The evidence is there. So that's the answer.
I mean, yeah, you're right about that. But I mean, like I said, I don't. Derrick Henry is the only every down back left in the league, and let us not forget that his first couple years in the league, he was not an every down back. Because remember, we did his comparison to Zeke, and
Yeah.
Zeke had like twice as many touches as he did in
But
the first 3 or 4 years. So Derrick Henry wasn't even a starter his first
yeah,
year in the
but
league.
understand what I'm saying. I'm not saying we need an every down back. I said we need a star running back. So we just have to have a star, and he just has to be
I,
that guy that at some point in the game he's going to
Blue
take the
fit
game
that.
over.
I think Blue can fit that narrative because he's one of those players that touches the ball one time and then next thing you know, he's 60 yards down the field.
I think Blue is going to play well. I just don't think he's going to be that guy. And we had when we did our mock drafts, we took Blue in every draft.
We did.
I don't think we did a mock draft where we passed him up. So we wanted
And
Blue.
we did, but also we picked a running back every draft in the third round or
Yeah.
higher.
So we took Devin Neal. They passed up on him. He went to the Saints. And
Yeah,
we definitely were going to take the running back from Iowa. What was his name? And he was
Caleb,
there.
Caleb Johnson or Caleb
Oh,
Williams.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
What were his
actually.
stats in college? Jaden Blue. You have to pull that up.
Uh, yeah, we'd
Well,
have.
he almost won the Ohio State game by himself.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Mhm.
had two huge plays in that game, and he played good against Clemson and Arizona State too. So,
I was about to
you
say
know,
in
he got
Arizona State, he was like, they won that game. Now it went into overtime and all of that, but they won that game. The
yeah, the
running back.
Arizona. If Monica is listening, the Arizona State game, I couldn't watch the end. I had to go outside like 5 times, and then when I came back in, I found out they had won. I couldn't watch it.
Yeah,
It was too nerve wracking.
yeah. It was too nerve wracking. But that game, I was in Houston. We was
Yeah,
wa- we
you were
watched,
in Houston.
yeah, we watched it in Houston, and we was just like we was losing our minds.
I would like to know if Monica watched the whole thing,
Oh, man, we was losing our minds in that game.
or did she have
We
to
almost that game right
step
there.
outside like I did?
Yeah. That's what it was one of them type of deals. Let me see. Jaden Blue college stats. Let me see. Uh, I don't think that. Let me see. Let's look at while I'm pulling that up. Let's look at let's see.
She said she had a
That,
heart attack.
yeah,
Yeah.
I know. That game right there. That game right there. And then Scatterboo, the way Scatterboo was acting in that game, I couldn't.
Well, Texas had the game won, and they came back.
Right, they couldn't lose that game to me because it was just like, man, it was too much on the line. My heart was beating, and then them field goals at the end. That was insane. It says, I'm not gonna look at that. I'm not gonna do
So
that
watching
justice.
Monica watching the Arizona State, that was like watching Duncanville and North Shore. It's kind of like that.
Yeah. But these last couple times, North Shore, I just felt like North Shore didn't have enough.
Well, not Colin's senior year, but his junior year, man, they won a game on a fourth and inches.
Yeah, I remember. But the last time they didn't really. I just felt
Yeah,
like
the last game wasn't that close. They did come back, but yeah, I never felt close to me.
mm-mm,
Let's see. Look at where the scheme had him running. Yeah. You talking about Blue? Yeah.
mhm.
So look, I'm high on Blue, and I'm thinking he's gonna do great. I just don't think we're gonna be able to see him as a number one back to start the year. I think he's gonna be. I'm saying the Cowboys are gonna be a second half team. We're gonna be a much better team the last part of the season. The first part of the season, we're gonna have to just hold the fort down until some guys get back. And then I think the second half of the season, guys like Ravel Jr., Jaden Blue, some of these young guys, I think they're gonna, and we may be a team this year, Jules, that we may have to go on the road and win a game to really make a statement because
Mhm.
we're gonna be a better team in the second half of the year. So I just kind of got a feeling that's how it's gonna go. We're gonna be that team that goes on the road on a playoff and win a couple of games. So I think we have the potential to do that.
Okay, so this one right here on Reddit says Dallas Cowboys have no running attack. NFL analyst isn't sure about Jerry Jones' team bouncing back as a top 10 scoring offense. I want to just say this, and I've been saying this for a while now. What gives people the impression that this team won't be a top 10 scoring offense? I mean, what would make somebody say that? I mean, because
Um,
every time that they have been healthy, every time that Dak has been healthy
that's
for
a
the
good point.
last 5 years or so, whatever, they've been a top 10 scoring team. They've been number one a couple times. So it's
Yeah.
just like, what makes people think that they won't be a top 10 scoring team if Dak is not healthy, if Dak is healthy? And we
Yeah.
and we added George Pickens. I just don't understand that. I mean,
So blew it.
I
I,
don't
I
get it.
agree with the schedule. That's why I say I think we're gonna be better in the second half. So I think the offense it's just gonna be. You look, we just gotta watch them play. Shoddy, they're gonna run the same offense with a few wrinkles. I think the confidence that we have probably just in Dak. Dak knows the offense like the back of his hand. Whenever Dak is healthy and we got pretty healthy team, our offense has been pretty good. So yeah, I mean, I feel confident about what we're gonna do. But yeah, the schedule is but you gotta just play who you play. I actually think we're gonna have a shot to win the Philadelphia game. So, but yeah, I think the offense I think it's gonna be okay. And again, I think it's gonna be better probably toward the second half of the season.
Yeah. Let me see who are post June 1. I've been trying to find this article. I can't find it. Post June 1 cuts, possible post June 1 cuts, I guess. But another thing is, Hoodie said scheme matters. We won't have a. I mean, no. Blewett said our schedule is killer though, unlike the Kansas City Chiefs,
Mm,
for example. But my thing is this: yeah, our schedule is killer, but it's two things I'm gonna say. One thing is I'd rather our schedule be killer and us going to the playoffs with our schedule being killer because the Cowboys have a stigma of beating up on sorry teams and then getting beat by the tough teams.
mm-hmm.
So if we can make our bones during the year with these tough teams, and let's just say not even beat them, and we limp into the playoffs against the tough teams, then we'll have a better shot against the tough teams in the playoffs. And then also, I want to say this too about the schedule. Our schedule is tough, but it's like 15 other teams that schedule is tough too. We're not pushovers ourselves. So anybody that has the Cowboys on the schedule, that's a tough game for them because we're not trash. So it's just like, that our division is tough. You know what I'm saying? So 8 games, 7 games out of our, schedule are tough. But it's with familiar foes. The Eagles are gonna be tough games. The Giants and the Commanders are gonna be tough games. So even if we had one of the easiest schedules, our division is hard enough. It's hard to make it out of by itself.
Mm-hmm.
So the Cowboys won't have easy schedules going forward pretty much ever because our NFC East foes they're getting better and better every year. So they're
Yeah.
not our schedule gonna be rough, you know what I'm saying? But them other teams, everybody know them other teams, they get up to play the Cowboys the most. But the Eagles got a tough schedule, and so do the Giants, and so do the Commanders, and so do everybody else. And so it's just like it ain't no, yeah, we got a tough schedule, but do we want an easy schedule? I don't think we want an easy schedule.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much kind of how a lot of people feel. So you ready to go ahead and wrap? Want to talk about just have everybody like and subscribe the show. We trying to get to our first 200 subscribers. We 10 away. So this has been a adventure, one that I was a reluctant warrior. Julian wanted to do this, and I was like, man, I ain't trying to be in front of a camera and all of that. So that I'm kind of a behind the scenes guy in every way. So this has been kind of fun doing this. And so, but I did tell him if I was going to do it, we were going to try to do it, with some quality in class and try to do. But it's been fun doing this, and we got a lot of ideas that we're working on, things we're going to be doing. We're going to be working on Jules' first video that he's gonna produce, something that we're gonna be working on in the next couple of weeks. We think it's gonna be fun, and we'll send it out and have everybody take a look at that. And of course, he's doing the school thing, trying to finish up school with his media degree, and so just keep him busy. And shout out to Blewett, longtime family friend, and he's a Noop, I'm a Noop, and so Blewett, I just got reelected to the board of directors for Dallas Alumni Chapter, so I'm on the board of directors there again.
Shout
So
out
been
to the
been
Noobs.
excited about what we're
Man.
doing with the Capitals and all over Dallas. We do a whole lot of work with the city of Dallas, and I'm an Oak Cliff guy, so it's been really fulfilling me being in the Dallas Alumni Chapter, doing work over there. And appreciate it, Monica, and appreciate you
Colin
joining.
changed his number to 1, y'all. So we're doing this now.
Yeah, so Colin Simmons is fam, and so he's looking forward to an exciting year and hopefully hook up with him at some point. But yeah, he's got the number change, so that was kind of when we would tell people about Colin, we would say he's number 11. They would say which 11. So
Right.
that's gonna be a lot better now that he's just number 1. So that's gonna
Sure.
be a whole lot better. But we appreciate you guys joining, and we'll probably I know I'm not gonna be here Friday. We'll probably do Saturday night. We'll come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. We're gonna do Saturday night.
So we're gonna do Saturday night, then we're gonna do one on Sunday with Lookout KC.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna gear up. We'll probably be like when training camp starts, we'll probably be doing shows like every day, don't you imagine?
Yeah, because it's gonna be a lot of news, and a lot of Cowboy fans is gonna be looking for the news, and we trying to, we gonna be that's what we're gonna be doing. So we probably be every day when training camp starts. It's gonna be a lot of stories. Everything that we talked about is coming to fruition. So it's gonna be a lot of interesting things going on. So yeah, be looking for us on that.
And we're gonna do something. Let's see what she
Yeah.
said. Saturday after the football game. Yes, it'll be
Yep.
Saturday night, Monica.
Yeah, Saturday
We
evening.
do
Yeah.
Saturday night live. It'll be late, probably like 8 o'clock.
Yeah, it'd be like 8 o'clock at night.
And then we're gonna do a show with Jeanette Berry. She's the she has a foundation. It's called Oak Cliff Community Care. So they service the Redbird Mall area kids. She's a member of a Dallas Cowboy Club. It's about 240 members, and they travel all over the country going to games. So we're gonna have her and some of her club members on our channel, and she is like just a great charity person in the Dallas area. So
Monica is too.
yeah,
So
well, Monica, absolutely, with Clayton's Color Crew. We're gonna talk about that too. We're gonna have Monica on, and but yeah, so we got a few things we're gonna do. We're trying to just branch out and do something that people are not doing in the content space. So we're still trying to figure things out and pull it together here.
and we active in the community too. That's one thing our family is kind of built on, and so we kind of trying to extend that and do that and do this and do that at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, you want to go ahead and close it up, wrap it up?
Yeah, so we appreciate everybody that came out. This was a fun show. We appreciate everybody. When everybody comes on and watches and comments like that, it's really just it makes this so much fun. So we appreciate y'all for that. Make sure you like and subscribe. Repost the video if you can. Make sure you like it, and we'll see y'all on the next one. We'll see y'all Saturday.